Hello grapplers and welcome to a new video. I've been watching more replays. There's a lot of things Zangiefs are doing that should not be doing, or more or less that's kind of clickbaity. These are things you should try to avoid and not abuse. So this video is about all of those things you should not be doing, or at least you should be doing less. How the hell do I poke with this character? I've said this in other videos, but your best buttons are definitely your lights. Your lights kinda cover really good distance. They can allow you to poke the opponent in specific situations, and they recover fast more or less, with the exception of maybe standing light kick. But everything else is kinda on the fast side, so you can abuse them sometimes without fearing so much as a retaliation from the opponent. They can whiff punish this, and they can get a punish counter, but it's not that likely compared to other buttons. So if you want buttons that are fast and allow you to poke, remember lights. These are great options. Instead of using, yes, medium buttons. You don't need to use mediums all the time. So they get DI'd, they get jumped in, they get a lot of things, fireballs, etc, etc. They don't have enough frames to lariat or to use a jump. I've said this countless times. Your mids are mostly for counter poking, for whiff punishing specific buttons. You don't have to abuse them. Like if you're over here and you don't know what button to use, using your mids is generally a bad idea. That doesn't mean you don't have to use them. Ideally, you want to use them after your plus frames. You need to react with these buttons, so don't mash them. Anti-airs. We've been talking about lariat a lot in this channel, and that's for a reason, because I do feel a lot of players don't know how to use lariat, so they do it too late, too early, or they just don't use it. The thing is, you need enough frames to react with lariat, because the damn thing is super slow. So you need enough frames. And how do you get enough frames for you to react with lariat? By not wasting those in other things. Let's say you're poking this look, and this look, you know, is jumping the SPDs. Position yourself with lights and then stop. Wait to see if he jumps. Walk back to create enough distance. If he jumps at you, you will be ready. Also, you have enough distance to poke with lights in case he goes for a dash or something. So you have enough distance and you can react to the jump. So you need to position yourself in order for the lariat to work. I know lariat waves a lot. If you're over here, for example, and you go for a throw and that look jumps forwards, very likely you won't have enough time to react with Super 1 or lariat. In that case, obviously blocking is the only option. If you're over here, you usually have enough frames and enough time to react with lariat. So just be careful about the position and controlling the amount of buttons you're pressing in order for you to react with lariat, obviously. Crouching light kick or standing light kick or even standing light punch into Siberian Express. This seems awesome, but let me tell you, there's no easy way of landing a button into a cancelled Siberian Express. Almost 99% of the times they can jump or press buttons. The most common true frame trap into Siberian Express is from a crouching medium punch drive rush on block. That's your frame trap. They cannot press buttons there. They can jump it though, but they cannot press buttons. It changes slightly when they're in burnout. In burnout, you have more frames, so you can use the crouching medium punch. In general, that's your best option to go into a proper Siberian Express. Otherwise, everything else, even on hit, even light punch on hit, even crouching medium punch on hit, everything is not guaranteed. So stop going for that. In fact, stop going for that many Siberian Expresses. A lot of players just want to use it, and this move, I have to be honest, sucks. It's really bad. The oak is decent. Like if you land one, the oak is decent. You can do it once, twice, every few matches, and you can drive rush and continue the pressure. It's very decent in terms of oki. But landing it is very, very hard. So don't expect everyone to fall for the light on block or on hit into Siberian Express. You need to earn it. And how do you earn it? By pressing buttons and poking a lot. We're always gonna go back to lights. You have to use your light. Not using a standing heavy punch. This is something I've been guilty of. I didn't trust the standing heavy punch. Let's throw in sweep 2. These two buttons are really good at several things. Specifically, standing heavy punch. This thing covers, look at this. I'm gonna let go of the drivers a little bit. All that distance, and over here you don't even have to do it. The distance you cover with this thing is significant. There's a button you have to abuse at range, is standing heavy punch. Like let's say you're over here, you space yourself, standing heavy punch. you landed a really far standing light punch. Standing heavy punch. Let me tell you that this button is gonna save you. It's a button you have to rely on a lot with Zangief. In every single matchup. The one just when you just poke with it is very decent. And you have to mix it up with the slightly charged version. Don't go that often, and this is also something new players do. Don't go that often for the fully charged version unless you know they are obviously respecting you. Otherwise, the slightly charged version to take advantage of the armor from frame 4 is super good, specifically when you have them in the corner, and this is 100% real. I think every Zangief player will tell you this. Here your standing heavy punch is like nuts, because they cannot backdash. They have to jump it, or in some cases the eye. The button is weak to the eye if they hit the standing heavy punch during the first active frames, like the first and the second. Usually from the third onwards, you're gonna be recovering time to react with your own DI. So if you're over here, and they're just waiting there, they don't know what to do, give them hell. Walking back sweep is super decent. And also this is one of your best with punishers. Don't be afraid to just throw sometimes, crouching heavy kick, the sweep. The only issue is don't do it when you're close, because sometimes people do something like this, and obviously if they're blocking, you're gonna get punished. Sweep is your long distance button. In the same way standing heavy punch is. Position yourself in a way where you know it's either gonna be hard to punish or you're gonna get a slight punish compared to being up close and -13. A lot of players are not used to whiff punishing. They see the opponent whiffing, like standing medium punch, crouching medium kick, whatever, and they don't press anything. You have to get used to pressing buttons when they are whiffing. If you don't know what button to use a standing heavy punch. Even if it's a light. The worst case scenario, they're gonna block it. The best case scenario, you're gonna hit them with it. With time, you're gonna get used to knowing what kind of button they're using, and you can maybe go for a sweep, or a standing medium punch, or even a standing light kick, dry brush, or standing light punch, dry brush. At first, if you don't know what to do, standing heavy punch. Put that in your head, so you always try to keep them guessing. They have to respect you. And enough, that's another thing people don't do when they're learning Zangief. They don't know how to make the opponent respect them. And here's a little, well, difficult to answer, maybe it's a little psychological, but the more you put fear in them, it's likely they're gonna make mistakes. So how do you put the fear in the opponent? By doing things like that, by whiff punish them, so they're afraid of pressing a button because they know you're waiting, walking forward without doing anything. What are they gonna do? They have to dry rush, they have to jump forwards, they have to throw fireballs. Then you can start seeing the patterns. You can jump forward, you can DI, you can use a slightly charged version of standing light punch without grabs. And I haven't even touched the grabs. This is just by walking forwards and poking. The grabs are very important, but usually the grabs in this game are either on wake up or in very rare stances as whiff punishers and also tick throws. Using lights, probably they are thinking you're gonna grab them at some point, and that's normal. You have to do that with Zangief. Maybe not all the time, but you do have to use it. The majority of the time you have to establish your presence with buttons, not grabs. Remember that, buttons. That's why I'm so repetitive in terms of telling you you have to use your lights. You can establish a game plan only with this, crouching light kick, and standing heavy punch. I'm not even kidding. You can use only those buttons and still win a lot of matches. Let's talk about building a game plan. The basic game plan with Zangief is poking and making the opponent fear you. I think we all know that by this point. Grabs help you do that when you're close, and buttons with large hitboxes and very good ranges and being safe on block, like standing heavy punch, help you with that. So the idea is here, if you're over here with Zangief, what you want to do is just poke them. Take health little by little and force them to walk back. And when you're up close, you have to mix up your frame traps, usually with headbutt, which that's +4, or the +1 or +2, into buttons or grabs. Don't try to go too crazy. Don't try to go into 3 dashes sometimes, or 2 dry brushes into something, because that's very difficult to do if you don't have the opponent conditioned. So the main idea, again, I know, I don't want to bore you with this, but you do have to use your lights. Use your lights a lot with Zangief. If for some reason you feel like your heart tells you, I should be doing standing heavy punch, I really want to do standing heavy punch, believe me, replace that with standing heavy punch. Replace this with this. And believe me, you're gonna start winning a lot more. Don't rely on grabs that much. That's basically it. If you are in place for a SPD, for a regular grab, I would recommend a regular grab first until the opponent respects you, and then you go for SBD. This is basically something that makes a lot of sense with Zangief. Zangief doesn't have the best hitbox for the DI, and also you don't have the best buttons to go into DI. So usually your DIs are reactive DIs. You can use DIs in ways you are not necessarily expected to. For example, one thing I often do when I know the opponent doesn't know what I'm trying to do basically is use an on-hit DI from a light. I go into DI. They can react to this, but it's really, really uncommon for them to see a Zangief going for that. You can even use headbutts. And you hide your DI. So in that way, they have to be very wary of what the Zangief player is doing. Once you do a few of them, I bet you they're gonna try to do it after your headbutt so you can just block and wait. React to their DI. So you can be creative with your DIs, but don't use them that much. The general rule is use your DIs as a reaction to theirs. Then, when you have enough confidence and you have enough frames, or you know they're not reacting, then you can go for a raw DI or something. Parrying with Zangief is also very important. If you don't know what to do on defense, just go for a parry. Specifically when they're threatening you like with 3 lights, 4 lights on block, just parry in between them. You need to believe in yourself. It's that easy. I know. It sounds like this guy's telling me to believe in myself. I know I've lost like 200 points, but I'm dead serious. Trust your game plan. If you don't know what to do, commit to something. Obviously, try to do something safe. Like a lot of Zangief players commit to things like knee. I haven't talked about knee, but you do have to stop using this thing. It's not worth it. You're gonna die more than win with knee. So something I forgot. Try to not abuse knee. If you're gonna abuse something, you abuse standing heavy punch. Be confident in yourself. Build a game plan around the safe stuff and being confident. I know you're gonna lose. Zangief is not the best character in the game. You're gonna lose matches. You're gonna get DI'd back. You're gonna get thrown in the corner 20,000 times. It's normal. That's how the character is. But when you're playing, don't second guess yourself. Block more. Don't be afraid to block. Walk, block, walk, block. You can, if the opponent is using medium kicks, for example, and you're over here and walk back, that medium kick will whiff. So if you poke someone, give them a space. Give them that space so they can create errors for you to take advantage of. You're gonna do great. Just keep doing, keep grinding. The character is not easy, but don't focus so much on the problems, because if that's the case, you're gonna go to Discord and you're gonna complain for half an hour and you're not gonna get anything. As always, you can catch me at twitch.tv/Siberian Lab. If you like this content, please subscribe. We're gonna do more stuff with Zangief. We also need to talk about Tekken a little bit. How Tekken is at the moment. That's another can of worms. Take care. Thank you for being here and keep playing grapplers. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.